Hey there, I'm just making sure you can hear me. Or folks that are on, can they hear me?
I can hear you, Jared, and folks are in the waiting room still, so we'll admit them in about 3 minutes.
Okay, do I sound clear and loud enough or too loud?
You
You
sound
sound better
quiet.
now.
You sound quiet, you said?
That sounds better. Yes.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Hey there, folks. Thanks for joining. We are gonna just give it a few minutes to let people stagger in. Hey, everyone. I realize it's 11 o'clock now. We're just gonna give it maybe couple more minutes to let people log in. Thank you for getting here on time.
I made it.
Woohoo! Thanks for joining.
My name is Jason Gamez, and I'm a representative of the Hungalalti Reservation, and we have our carpet
Oh,
recycling center set up and ready to go.
yeah, that's great. I haven't been up there yet. I'm focused in Southern California, but I'm glad you were able to make it. Welcome.
So I have no pictures or nothing, but I could get them. And I'm working busily with my tribe they're tearing out these old houses, like old crack houses and stuff. So they're gonna give us those, and I'm aware of what we have to have, like no area rugs and
Right.
no pads, free of staples, nails, or anything like that.
Carpet padding is allowed in the container. Just FYI, we can get with you offline.
I was told no.
Oh, okay, maybe there's a special circumstance there, but typically we allow carpet and carpet padding in the care containers. But we'll
So
have
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say we'll have Lisa or Mary get in touch with you uh individually. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and start the webinar. We'll probably have some people joining in as we go, but that's okay. So thanks everyone for joining. I'll just go ahead and start. This is the CARE biannual webinar for CARE drop-off sites. My name is Jared. I'm a senior associate with the California Carpet Stewardship Program, which is managed and run by CARE. And as far as drop-off sites go, I mainly work in Southern California and some Central California counties, but I also help manage hauling operations throughout the state. Many of you, of course, know Lisa Meckes. She's focused in Central and Northern California. Mary Pitto has been helping a lot with our outreach, so I'm sure many of you have heard from her as well. And we have some other care staff in attendance as well. I know you're all really busy, so I'll just get going. But really quickly, I just wanted to make sure you all know where the mute and unmute button is. It should look something like what's on screen. And also the chat button. I think everyone by this point is pretty much familiar with Zoom, but you should, like I said, see the unmute button there. And please feel free to unmute yourself at any time to ask a question, or if you need me to repeat something. We'll have a few openings for questions and feedback. But in between those times, if you have a question, just feel free to unmute and let me know. And you can do that either by voice or chat. And we like to keep kind of an attendance, a track of who attends these meetings. So Zoom will do that automatically, but if you don't see your name assigned to your little square, or if it's not your actual name on there, if you could type your name in the chat, that'd be much appreciated. But no need to do that if your name is already showing up. And also, as the last reminder, just note that this webinar is being recorded so that we can put it on the CARE website later on. And with that, I will go into the agenda. So just to kind of briefly go over this, we'll start with a CARE program update, which will consist of a collections review of 2023 and 2024 year to date, as we typically do on these webinars. I'll tell you about our mapping capabilities and how CARE utilizes different mapping applications related to collections. Then our market development manager, Rob Teese, will talk about products made with recycled carpet and the recycling process. Then for drop-off site operations, we will look at commercial jobs and on-site service, and we'll do a spotlight on a couple of unique companies in reuse and deconstruction. Just a quick side note, when I sent out the agenda, I included an item about HHW facilities and other unique locations. I actually ended up removing that. So maybe we'll have it on a future webinar, but it just didn't seem, applicable to this. So then after the drop-off site operations, we'll hear from Brennan Jensen with Blue Strike, and they'll give a short presentation on the currently in progress CARE collection study. And finally, we'll hear about feedback and best practices as we normally do, and then we'll close. So we'll get into it. So in 2023, we had the highest ever recycling rate of 35%, which exceeded our target of 31%. We always like to see that line growing in that direction. To make that happen, just over 93 million pounds were collected across the state. And again, this is 2023. And approximately 18 million of those pounds were collected by all of you, our public drop-off sites. And the remaining pounds of the 93 million were collected through the private network of CSEs. And what CSE means is collector, sorter, entrepreneur. So if you hear me say CSE, it's essentially the entities that accept the carpet, from the drop-off sites that we haul to, and they sort that material into its respective material types. So again, the majority of that 93 million pounds collected by the private network of CSEs and the processors and recyclers of the carpet. We currently have 150 drop-off sites throughout the state, and that's 147 public drop-off sites, which is all of you. We have an additional 3 semi-public drop-off sites at regional carpet distribution centers. Those are operated by carpet manufacturers. And as you probably know, drop-off sites now are located at both recycling facilities, which is the vast majority of where they're located, but they're also now located at carpet retailers. And at the end of, if I jump back a little, at the end of 2022, we reached a very significant milestone of establishing at least one drop-off site in each of the state's 58 counties. But, I don't want to say more importantly, but more of a difficult goal to achieve was one drop-off site per 500,000 population increment in all counties. This is referred to as the convenient collection goal. And we again reached that goal in 2023. So again, that's one drop-off site per 500,000 people in each county. Now that we're in 2024, that requirement's changing a little bit. So we need to establish at least one drop-off site per 450,000 population increment in each county. And I'm confident we will reach that goal. We almost have. And as the years progress, as part of this plan cycle, that number will decrease. So it'll essentially increase the number of sites that we need to bring on. And just to be clear, this means that, like I said, one site per 500 or 450,000 residents. So an interesting way to put that in perspective is somewhere like Kings County, there's a population of approximately 150,000 people. So that means one drop-off site is required for the entire county. However, LA County, Los Angeles, has a population of approximately 10 million. So that means 20 drop-off sites at least are required to meet that legislative requirement. And again, we're very proud to have reached that goal. So this is the drop-off sites over time. We see, the obvious increase. For 2024, we brought on 2 sites so far, which I know doesn't seem like a lot. I'll get to that in a second, but that's Crystal Materials and in Los Angeles County and Madison Materials in Orange County. Coincidentally, they both have materials in their name. However, the reason the count is only 1 above is we've had a couple sites removed from the program, and that's simply one went out of business, another had a container compliance issue. And I will say though that, while it looks like certainly there hasn't been a huge increase yet, this is kind of how it's been for the past few years. A lot of the work we do in recruiting sites in the first part of the year is seen later. So for example, in 2022, we had approximately 30 of the 39 new sites come on in the latter half of the year. And last year, it was the same. 13 of the 18 new sites came on in the last 6 months of the year. So next time you see this graph, it will be quite different, I think. And we look at what you have all done in terms of swap outs and service requests. You can see last year, there was a total of 1,836 total service requests. So far this year, we've seen approximately 861. However, this data, even though it looks about right for where we should be in the year, there's quite a bit of reporting still to be logged and tracked for Q2. So if we had the data in real time, this figure would be quite a bit higher for it being August 1st, but it still gives us a good idea of generally where we are. And as I mentioned before, care drop-off sites collected over 18 million pounds last year. So far this year, keeping in mind the same comment I just made about reporting for Q2, we are seeing approximately 9 million pounds collected. You can see, we're ever increasing our annual collection amounts. And I think it's interesting, this graph, if you look at 2014, you can see less than 1 million pounds was collected 10 years ago. And even 5 years ago, in 2019, we saw about 10 million pounds for an entire year. We're almost at that now, just over halfway through the year. Seems quite impressive that you all are collecting 18 million pounds of carpet per year. So I hope you find some pride in that. I think it's pretty neat. Now I am going to talk about our mapping capabilities and how that's helped CARE reach its drop-off site outreach and compliance goals. In general, we work with contractors that use 2 mapping applications, which is Mapline and ArcGIS. So Gigantic Idea Studio, they're coincidentally abbreviated GIS, so not to be confused with ArcGIS. I apologize if that is confusing, but Gigantic Idea Studio uses Mapline. Mapline is an internet browser-based platform that has really very greatly assisted with our drop-off site planning, our convenient collection planning, as well as retailer and installer outreach. We think of Mapline as sort of a boots on the ground tool for convenient collection to determine what we need and where we need to establish it in real time. And that can be on a county-wide, a region-wide level, it could be on a city-wide level. It really helps us, and I'll get into that in a second. Cascadia, the second kind of line there, uses ArcGIS, and that's a form of geographic information systems. They've used this to help CARE complete its study on convenient collection. So it's kind of like kind of a compliance and reporting assistance. And overall, it's helped us in the realm, like I said, of compliance and to gather more of a big picture scale of how and what we need to incorporate into our plan goals and to reflect back on where we are based on achievements that we have reached. That might make more sense in a minute when I get into it. And when we look at the two applications, like I said, Mapline's sort of our forward thinking and planning tool. ArcGIS kind of helps us look backwards and review and assess our progress. ArcGIS, as opposed to Mapline, is much more robust and in-depth and often requires an experienced user to operate. And then lastly, I actually kind of put this in here at the last minute, but I did it kind of to avoid confusion. Separately than those things, we have the CARE drop-off site map, which I imagine most, if not all of you, have seen or are familiar with. And I'll briefly touch on that in a few minutes. So just to talk a little bit about Mapline, Mapline provides us with an important visual tool to understand and analyze CARE's progress and also identify underserved areas. And to do this, it really relies on the data building into the map to create them, to create those maps. And in general, without going into too much detail and boring you on the actual data sources, I'll say more qualitatively, so to speak, we look at our internal database, which is Zoho. That's been built up over the past, I think, 7 years. And it's a source of quantitative and qualitative data on all of the CARE drop-off sites and flooring retailers throughout the state. We have logs of our outreach to each of them, and we track information there, and that gets fed into Mapline. We look at the CalRecycle Swiss list, which helps us identify essentially every single permitted solid waste and recycling facility in the state. We look at the thousands of registered flooring installers throughout the state. And we also use some purchase lists to look at things like multifamily dwellings and real estate agents and agencies involved in property management. But really anything that has an address or a geocode that's relevant to what we can see visually is included. And what do we really use this for in practice? It's really to drive collections and to drive, establishing drop-off sites. An example of this would be what's kind of shown on screen. It really helps speed up the work for us sometimes. So for example, we identify an area of need, say for a prospective drop-off site. I can actually just go in there and click on the little dot or the flag on the map, and it brings up information about that location. And for many, we've uploaded links to satellite images so we can immediately see if there would even be room to place a container for carpet collection, what the kind of lay of the land looks like. And then we can explore, contacting, the short list of folks from there. And of course, this isn't the only way we do things. That doesn't 100% tell us whether a container would or could go there, but it does often allow us to quickly see if there is no space or very limited space. And it also helps us focus and plan and track our outreach to carpet retailers and to prospective drop-off sites and sort of visually see where we need to go. And then as a quick visual example, I will say right here shown on screen is the CARE drop-off site map. So stepping away from Mapline for just a sec, this is the CARE drop-off site map, and it shows Orange County. I was recently speaking to the OC Waste and Recycling local government folks, and I thought it was very helpful to show them the coverage of CARE drop-off sites versus the spread of carpet retailers in the area. So we can see in green, those are the CARE drop-off sites. There's also a blue dot representing a collector sorter. And when I advance the slide, you'll see the same drop-off sites among all the carpet retailers in the area, but the next slide will be in Mapline, and the CARE drop-off sites are shown in red. So you can see just in that small area, there's 232 carpet retailers. You can see that there's decent coverage around, the drop-off sites. There's retailer clusters, but then you can also see in the kind of southern part in Mission Viejo and Laguna Beach, there's a little bit of an underserved area there. So that would lead us to go look for facilities or retailers that would be willing to host a drop-off site there. And then I just have, I think, one slide on the ArcGIS. We just wanted to touch on this. As written there on the screen, you can see there have been some significant, more formal studies that have been completed for CARE by Cascadia using the geographic information systems. That's been the Convenient Collection Study, the Convenient Collection Implementation Plan, and most recently the Flooring Professionals Proximity Convenience Goal Assessment. I won't go again into much detail because it's less applicable to this crowd. But I will say that the recent flooring professional proximity convenience goal, which looks at essentially how close flooring installers are to public drop-off points throughout the state, it showed 94% of residents throughout the state are within 15 miles of a location that accepts carpet from all flooring professionals, so open to the public essentially. And then, like I said, I just wanted to touch on the CARE drop-off site map. This is separate from either of those two other applications. And I imagine, again, most of you have seen this. It's a Google-based map embedded into the CARE website, and it's public facing. It's designed to guide anyone with post-consumer carpet looking to, get it recycled to the closest drop-off site near them. And so please use this. You could use this link, and we send out hard copies of the book now. Since we have so many sites, it's a booklet as opposed to a sheet. So please refer anyone to this as you see fit. And I will move on. I just kind of explained that we have the hard copies, we have regional postcards showing the drop-off site map and things like that. So it really is a helpful tool, of course, with our outreach. And then I'll pause. Does anyone have any questions? I know I just talked a lot. Does anyone have any questions before I move on?
Yeah, Jared, I have a question.
Yeah.
So this is one with J&M for covering here in Madera. Sometimes our guys will bring or people will drop off like padding, like in pieces, and they'll put it inside a garbage bag. So do we have to empty the garbage bag, or can we just throw the whole bag with the padding into the container?
Ideally, the recyclers don't really want scraps, ideally. So the root of that answer, I would say, would be educating them, on how to bring in the carpet and carpet padding.
Mm-hmm.
Dry, debris free, obviously, but manageable sections. We really don't want carpet scraps. If one gets in there every once in a while, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if there's repeat people doing that, maybe CARE could get involved and get you some collateral or do some outreach in the area and try to get people to prepare it more properly.
So if somebody brings scraps, just throw them in the dumpster then?
I don't know. I don't want to say for sure throw it in the dumpster. I mean, I guess I would want to ask the recyclers what would they prefer, especially since you're talking about pad.
Right.
That may be
yeah, padding or carpet.
Different than carpet.
Sometimes they'll cut the edges, and they'll bring them in a garbage bag, But
yeah,
it's all like pieces, So
I'd say use your discretion. I mean, if it's like a whole big truckload of just bags and scraps, that should not go in the container. And we'd really want to target whoever's doing that, because obviously they have access to quite a bit of carpet. And we want to capture it in the right way. But I'd say use your discretion. If it's just one thing here and there, I don't think anyone's going to get bent out of shape about it. But why don't I pose that question to one of our recyclers and then maybe get back to you on that?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Jared, if I could interject for a second. This is Martin with Green Waste Recovery in San Jose.
Oh, perfect. I was wondering if you were on, actually. So yes, please.
To answer the J&M flooring question, the scraps, I mean, I know CARE's supposed to put everything in the container. I can tell you that it will come to us and we're going to throw it away. So carbon footprint wise, it might be a little wiser to dispose of that material at your facility versus shipping it and having me dispose it at my facility.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
All right. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Anyone else? I see some chat in there, but I'm not sure if it's names or comments. So anyone else have any questions or comments?
Jared, this is Cheryl. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I will just say it's some feedback from Jay Yamez. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. His comment on the mapping was amazing.
Oh, cool. Thank you. All right. Now, Rob, our market development manager, is going to talk to you a little bit about products made with recycled carpet and the kind of recycling process. Are you there, Rob?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, that was an amazing mapping overview. Even for me, I can't believe how detailed that is. It's amazing. Great tools, and we can see our success in our underserved areas. So, thanks for presenting that and showing that to everyone. I think it's very helpful and useful information. So,
Great.
my name is Rob Teese. Like Jared had said, I am the Product and Market Development Manager for CARE. I've been here for, I don't know, something like 5-6 years now, but been in recycling industry since 1999. So I've seen a lot of ups and downs. So now what I've put together is just a few slides that kind of tell you where things go from once you guys have collected this, filled up your containers or trailers, they move out. So go ahead and advance the slide, Jared. So obviously that's a perfect picture of a truck that is fully and completely loaded. We always try to aim that way, but it's truly not realistic. There's a lot of hours that you could see that it would take to be that perfect, but we try to achieve that. Go ahead and switch to the next one. So once we get these trailers and roll-off bins that are full, we send them to some of our recyclers. There's a total of 3 recyclers within the state of California, one up in Northern California, one down in Vernon, and then one out east in the San Jacinto Hemet area. We also have a location out in Phoenix, Arizona, that we send some material out to be processed. So once it gets there, they use what this gentleman has in his hand. It's an IR. It's an infrared analyzer that shoots out an infrared laser beam that's diffracted on the face fibers, and then it's sent back to the gun. The gun actually has an audible spoken word to it, so it'll let you know that if it's a PP, PET, nylon 6, or nylon 6.6. So based on that, they'll shoot an image of the fiber, it'll tell it what it is, and then they'll segregate those into runs. So one day they may be running all PET carpet, the next it will be nylon 6 or PP. Go ahead and advance. So from there it goes into these machines. So it's a series of shredding and screens. So they're just knocking down the initial size, liberating some of the loose calcium carbonate that fractures from when you grind. And it goes through a series of these. This particular units that we're looking at here are up in CP. There is LA Fiber that has a little bit of different technology, and then Aquafil out in Phoenix, a little bit different there as well. But they all do the same thing. They shred it up, they shake it, they sift out the loose, and then they separate the fibers on screens, and the calcium carbonate falls through. Then they go to different purifying areas where they're shaked, and it's called a step cleaner, where it's tossed and moved around, and you get the cleaner fractions like that. Go ahead and advance one more.
Just before I do, I just want to clarify for folks.
Sure.
CP is Circular Polymers. They're the recycler in Lincoln. That's all.
Perfect. LEF, Los Angeles Fibers down in Vernon, and Aquafil out in Phoenix. So then the resulting product looks a lot like this. So obviously the little puff balls up top are the face fiber. There is a little bit of contaminant, which is polypropylene, and that is the actual mesh that the face fiber is cemented in. And how it's captured and glued in there is finely milled calcium carbonate with a small percentage of SBR latex, and that's the glue that holds the material all together. So once that's liberated, you get these various fractions. That face fiber then can be densified, like what you see over to the right of the image with the hands. Those are called chips or pellets, and it makes it density a little bit more that you can feed it into an extrusion process to make pellets out of. Once it's in a pellet shape, it can go into all sorts of injection molding processes and be manufactured into a myriad of everyday products. Go ahead, advance. Here we have some pictures of some siding. There's a company that uses a thermal forming process. They use various types of recyclables, including carpet fiber. They don't have a specific need or want for a separated material like a nylon 6/6 or a nylon 6. It can be mixed product in their application. Go ahead to the next. So here we have some floor underlayment. So it's just a fiber floor underlayment. You see this mostly in commercial applications. However, there are some interesting uses now where people are starting to use commercial broadlooms and carpet tiles in their homes. So that's an interesting thing, but it gives it a lot of character. Very thin pad, no polyurethane like the traditional, but this stuff can be pulled up and recycled again. Go ahead to the next. Here we have some transition mats, for wheelchair access or just a little slight ramps to go over areas in concrete that may not be wheelchair friendly. And what they do is they take some crumb tire that's recycled in California, and then they add some calcium carbonate to it in the mixture. And that gives it some of its twisting, its durability, and a little more weight to it. Go ahead. And then this is just an old trifold that we have available. I think it's digitized on our website as well. I pass this out at a lot of the shows and tablings that I do. But here you can see the engine on the very top. And obviously it's exposed to a lot of heat, and that's why nylon 6/6 is the preferred material. It's got a higher melting point, a little more resilience. However, nylon 6, when you add compatibilizers and other enhancers to it, it can also perform in areas of high temperature. Down below, you see some flooring from Interface that uses some recycled fiber back into carpet tiles. And then those are little chalk stops and parking blocks, which are great because they take up a lot of plastic, and they can be recycled once they're cracked and the end of life has come. There's a multitude of products that are used out there. We have blast and ballistic fillers for doors and gates. And we also do a lot of stuff with the calcium carbonate. Although it's not a non-performance mineral filler, it could be used in diluting, cement recipes, adding less Portland cement, so lowering the overall costs. There's a lot of different ways we use that as far as a pipe underlayment or a sand aggregate in Caltrans and Arizona DOT projects. But that's about it. If anybody has any questions, I can sure try to answer them as best as I can. Hopefully you have a little bit of better understanding of where this stuff all goes to. Our recyclers need as much as we can grab. They all want another shift to run, and that's where their bread and butter comes from. So we really appreciate all your efforts out there and doing the best that you can in collecting post-consumer carpet for our program. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jared.
Thank you, Rob, very much. I jumped the gun a little bit on the last slide, but you'll
That's
forgive me.
okay.
Grant Dunn is raising his hand. You can just go ahead and unmute yourself, Grant. Do you
Yes,
have a question?
thank you, Rob. Thanks for the
Hey, Grant.
presentation. Oftentimes I've wanted to go down to LA Fibers and take a tour, and I brought this issue up before.
Yeah.
And they don't really provide tours, but I think it'd be nice if they could open up a little bit and
Exactly.
actually
I
go down
agree,
there to
Grant.
visit and take a look for yourself. You get a lot of education that way. So anyway, just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, so CP is not Circular Polymers up in Lincoln. Obviously, I think you're down here south. CP, that might be something that we could set up. Ron, the president and owner of LAF, is a little tight on that. I guess he's been burnt in the past, with having tours and people stealing information from him. So he's a little guarded. However, I am trying to work on it, and I think it is important for everybody to have that, or that would want to just have a quick tour. Maybe we set up a day or two and just bring everybody through the plant and see the inner workings of it. It's so glamorous, and then it just gives us all a better idea. So I'll work on that, Grant, and see if I can get something, and then we can promote that maybe on our next webinar.
Yeah, you had mentioned CP.
Yeah, Circular Polymer up in Lincoln.
Okay. All right. So they're up in Lincoln. So that's, sorry, I apologize. Lincoln is what, central?
North
northern?
of Sacramento.
Okay, yeah. So that would be a ways from
Yeah.
where I'm at Del Norte Recycling Center in
Mhm.
Oxnard, Ventura County. So
Sure.
LA Fibers would be the place to go
Yep.
for the southern region, and you know, so this is a transparent type of stewardship, you know, with the recycling of carpet, and so
Mhm.
I think it would be you know, advantageous for
Great.
folks to know. So if they do open up, that would be appreciated. And again, thanks for your presentation and
You got it, Grant.
information.
Perfect. I'll work on that. I guarantee you I'll work on that because you're not the only one that's whistling that tune. So we'll get something. Yeah, we'll get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with the transparency comment, but I will say, you know, CARE tries to be as transparent as possible in all of our reporting and in any way we can. But you know, the recyclers are private businesses, so it's not. If it were up to us, it wouldn't. You know, it'd be a little different. But you know, we'll work with what we got. But thanks for trying, Rob. And I will go ahead and move on unless there are any other questions. Okay. So I just wanted to tell you all now, moving on, about a pilot commercial carpet take-back program. I won't go into a ton of detail just because it's straightforward. There's not a whole lot to say about it. But basically, if there's a large broadloom or carpet tile tear-out job of more than 5,000 square yards, it may be eligible for free take-back. There is a simple form on the CARE website. The link's shown there on the screen, but you can always find it on the CARE website yourself or reach out to any CARE employee to find it. And we realize you folks here on the call are mostly, you know, well, pretty much all of you are just CARE drop-off sites or affiliated with CARE drop-off sites. But you also have unique insight into customers and contractors that make use of your facilities. So if you see large amounts of carpet or carpet tile coming from return customers, it would be great to engage them or, you know, give them one of our cards or a flyer, let them know about this or that they can connect with us and they may have options available. And it may just be that they are about to come across a job or they have a job lined up or involved in one currently that may meet this pilot program's requirements. And then kind of similarly, I just wanted to talk about on-site service. So even if it's not a huge job like 5,000 square yards, which is the better part of a football field, CARE still may be able to assist. Depending on the location, we may be able to help coordinate hauling service for source separated carpet loads. That could be at a construction job or just a large tear out. Container delivery, like I said, with a hauling of source separated material. It could be container delivery at an extended job site. Any kind of range of things we want to help if they don't already have recycling set up. And then in addition to that, we also help coordinate with the various CSEs and recyclers across the state. So like the Circular Polymers, the LA Fiber, and Green Waste up in San Jose to facilitate the delivery of that material. An example of this is an ongoing project at UCLA in which they hired a contractor to tear out all of the carpet in their dorm rooms. We were engaged to see if CARE could provide assistance, and in fact, we could. We were happy to facilitate one of our regional haulers, ServWell, which may be on this call. And they're also a CARE drop-off site. And we engaged, you know, coordinated with ServWell to place a container on site. So it's still there. I think it's been a little slower than we expected, but it's still going. And while it seems like a fairly simple process, it really often is just a matter of getting the word out and making sure people are aware of CARE, that carpet is recyclable and that we can help. So, you know, similarly to what I said on the previous slide, just let people know to contact us, even if it's just to give them some information. You know, we find that talking to people really unfolds quite a bit, and we've seen a lot of opportunities come across. So thank you for that. And then moving on, I just wanted to spotlight or highlight a couple of unique companies. And the first one is involved specifically in reuse. Before I get into them specifically, I just wanted to give some background. All carpet collector sorters and recyclers have been involved in reuse in some capacity. And CARE has specific subsidies to incentivize reuse, and we have reuse targets that we, as the California Carpet Stewardship Program, are required to meet each year. In general, carpet tile is by far the most readily reusable type of carpet. And so just to be clear, carpet tile is by far the most readily reusable type of carpet as opposed to broadloom. Both are reusable, but tile is just much more easy to employ in a reuse application. And carpet tile that arrives at the CSE sorting facilities needs to be identified and sorted. This ID chart on the right, it was designed to streamline the identification process for the sorters. It includes the top 30 backing styles, although there are over 40 in total, and each is composed of various materials and thermoplastics. And occasionally, if backstamping is employed by the mill, it might be difficult to read due to the printing process, which can lead to blurring, or maybe the adhesive used to affix the tile to the concrete floor made it illegible. So this can help in those situations as well. We received good feedback about this. And I think it's appropriate to talk about because I saw this exact board at Repurpose Earth, which is the company I wanted to spotlight, the first one. So Repurpose Earth is a fairly new collector, and they focus specifically on carpet tile reuse. And we were happy to announce them as the winner of the 2023 CARE Recycler of the Year. And that was at the CARE conference back in May. And Repurpose Earth, they essentially collect carpet tile from construction projects along with attic stock and overages. They redistribute that material to disadvantaged communities. And it was founded by mother-daughter team, Angie and Andrea. And as I mentioned, they focus exclusively on carpet tile reuse. The company also received a CARE grant last year that funded equipment to enable them to increase collection and redistribution of the material. And it also helped them plan for their future planned growth. And as I've seen firsthand, they are really passionate about this work. They're mission driven. They truly want to help expand the reuse of carpet tile as much as they can. So while, as I said, all of our collector sorters engage in reuse to some extent, we wanted to highlight Repurpose Earth because they are the 2023 CARE Recycler of the Year, and also just because of the great job they continue to do and the increase in material they're seeing come through their facility. We wanted to let you all know about their presence in Southern California, and they're always on the lookout for carpet tile. So if you find you're seeing a lot of carpet tile come through and it's going in the container for recycling, it might be good to divert it for reuse if possible. So again, they're located in Gardena in Southern California, and you can reach out to me or any CARE staff to get more information or their contact information or anything like that. And the second company I wanted to spotlight is IRS Demo, or CDR, which stands for Construction and Demolition Recycling. They focus on deconstruction and interior demolition, although I believe they do exterior demolition as well. They specialize in Class A high-rise, medical, university, hospitality, retail, and industrial buildings, and they're well-versed in LEED requirements. They remove or deconstruct to try to recover any and all useful, recyclable, and reusable materials from their jobs, and this includes anything from carpet and carpet tile to signs and furnitures, fixtures, you name it. I've walked through their storage warehouse, and it's fascinating to see the vast range of things that they've recovered and are storing for future donation or other use. And they have an integrated demolition, hauling, and recycling operation with the warehouse I just mentioned directly adjacent to their C&D recovery facility that they also operate. So materials that cannot be kept for donation or reuse are transferred right over to their C&D recovery facility. And they provided some pictures I want to go over. And if you've noticed, I sped up my talking just a little bit because I realized I'm kind of running long on time. But here they are using special equipment to tear up carpet tile. Kind of the same deal going on left and right there. They, of course, also remove carpet by hand, both broadloom and tile, which is captured for both recycling and reuse as applicable. And the great thing about deconstruction is that it really emphasizes the clean removal, where possible, of the materials for future use. And then I think there's another set of images. This is their facility itself. You can see on the left is the large storage warehouse that I mentioned earlier, and then the C&D recovery facility operation right next to it. There's no shortage of containers to separate and organize the materials. And so essentially that is IRS Demo and CDR, or like I said, Construction and Demolition Recycling Inc. So if you want their contact information, you can certainly reach out to me. You can go on the CARE drop-off site map where both IRS Demo and Repurpose Earth are. And IRS Demo is in Southgate. I don't remember if I mentioned that, which is in the LA area. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Blue Strike, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen and allow them to share theirs. And they're going to go over the California Collection Program Study. So let me see how to do this. One moment.
Hi, Jared. It's Cheryl. Oh, you got it. Okay.
And
And
then
Saul
you know
will
who to give it
be
to?
sharing his screen. There
There
we
you
go.
go.
Excellent. All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Brennan Jensen. I'm the Director of Engagement and Resilience for Blue Strike Environmental. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you today and to see some familiar names and faces. So some of you may know me from my prior work with the California Carpet Stewardship Program. I served as the California Program Manager from about 2013 to 2019. And I'm just going to say this is really great to come back into this program and see how much it has grown in the several years that I have been sort of stepped away from this. So I just, right at the beginning, I just want to really acknowledge all of the incredible work that everybody is doing that's on this call. All of you as drop-off sites are the folks that are on the front line of this program and are the ones that are really doing the hard work to make this work on a daily basis. So just want to express my gratitude, and it's pretty impressive to see how this has all grown. I also want to acknowledge I'm joined by my colleague, Saul Shepard. He serves as our data and technical analysis. We work for Blue Strike Environmental. We're an environmental consultancy based in Monterey, California, and we've been working in the space of zero waste and climate solutions for about 20 years, most of that focused on working with local governments and collection facilities just like yours. So kind of looking at what we're going to talk about today on the next slide, we've just been brought in to complete a particular study on collection. And so we want to just give you a little bit of an overview of what we are up to. And mostly this presentation is really just an invitation to all of you as the drop-off sites, as the core folks that are working every day to do the hard work of carpet collection. We really want to hear from you. We want to understand how the program is working and what opportunities there might be for some additional refinement moving forward. So we'll give you a little overview of what we're up to, some of the timeline components, and some initial kind of insights as we are beginning the process. The big piece here is to let you know that we are at the beginning of an engagement process, and we will be reaching out to all of you in the next couple of months. And we hope that we will have your enthusiastic participation as we begin those discussions. So a little bit about the program on the next slide, the project that we're up to. So in CARE's current 5-year plan, there's a goal to attain 60% gross collection by 2027. And at the beginning of that 5-year process, you guys were at about 40%. And again, I just want to acknowledge seeing some of these statistics shared at the top of the meeting. 35% recycling rate, really exciting to see that in the program overall for last year. As of the first quarter of this program, you guys are at about 49% actually gross collection. So you're about halfway to that 60% goal. And what this study is intended to do is to really understand what are the best practices that are supporting the program. And if there's any particular barriers or opportunities that could be leveraged to ensure that the program is able to attain that 60% goal. On the next slide, you'll see kind of the milestones of the project. So we're just in the very beginning stage of this, working on finalizing our stakeholder engagement plan and reviewing the baseline data. So just really understanding where the program currently stands in terms of existing baseline conditions. And then our next couple of months are going to be focused engaging with stakeholders just like yourselves to understand what is the experience that you are having on the ground. And again, what are those best practices? Where are things really working well? And what potential refinements might be helpful in continuing to increase collection. We certainly know from existing recycling programs with all different types of materials, often some of those initial gains are a little bit easier, but as you try to get higher and higher in terms of your percentage, sometimes that becomes a little more challenging. So those are some of the things we'd like to hear. All of this will get finalized into a report, and that will then be used by the CARE team to inform future enhancements. So what I'd like to just kind of bring to your attention today and kind of get your initial thinking on is these are some of the kinds of questions that we anticipate asking you, engaging with you over the next couple months, is to understand things like, if you want to think of it from a big idea perspective, you know, what's your big idea to continue to increase carpet collection for recycling? When you're out there, you know, in the field, then you've got hands on this material. Where are the places that you are seeing that the program could be more successful? Where do you see it really working? And what are the kind of some of the daily challenges that you are experiencing? And I think we have just maybe a couple minutes here for anybody who would like to weigh in here in real time. I'll just encourage you to feel free to raise your hand or use the chat function if there's any insights that occur to you, you know, kind of right here at the beginning of the process. Some of the things that we're thinking about are, you know, what are the factors that really led your agency to decide to join the program at the beginning? And were there particular pieces of the project that really got your attention or helped you internally to be able to get the support to launch the program? Were there things that maybe impacted or delayed your participation, for instance?
And I'll say, this is Jared, I'll just say, you know, it's a unique time because we have all of you, well, many of you together. And, you know, usually in the webinar, we have a what's working, what's not working section. So let's just take this opportunity to bring that up here. So if you've been waiting to talk, as I know so many of you probably have been, about what's working, what's not working, and then all the prompts Brennan just said, please, we'd love to hear from you, no matter how minor, small, big it is.
And I see a hand up from Fremont Recycling Center.
Thank you, Brandon. I was just going to ask if Fremont, if you would like to unmute yourself.
And it looks like Fremont is still muted.
Okay, that was a mistake. So we'll move on. And I think Rob, did I see your hand come up as well?
No, I made a mistake. I just clicked on it to see if it opened up to see who raised their hand. It was all.
Thank you.
I have a comment right here.
Excellent. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. This is again one with J&M Floor. So the reason why we joined the program because we have a an installation company, and so we were just sticking way too much to the dump. And we didn't want to do that. We wanted to kind of save the environment, and that is one of the reasons. And we have seen a lot of people taking advantage of this. They come to our site because we do have it advertised, and then because of the map that you guys provide, people are able to find it and they'll come to our location and they'll dispose of it. So I think it's a very positive thing that is taking place. So we really appreciate it.
Excellent. That's great to hear. Anyone else have similar experiences kind of coming into the program, or maybe potential internal barriers that might have delayed your participation? Grant.
Yeah, it's just, it's the diversion, the recycling, the avoided cost of landfill. Those are all factors that led us to join the program.
Excellent. Anything that folks are experiencing on the ground, maybe on a daily basis at your facility, things that you notice are really working as the material is coming in, or places where you might be seeing things kind of break down a little bit and seeing things head to the landfill face instead of to the recycling spot. Any thoughts on that? Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do here, Jared, just for time, is just let folks know that what I'd love you to do is just kind of look at these questions a bit and just kind of continue to consider them. And then just let you know this is just the beginning of kind of the process, and we are hopeful that we will be able to continue this discussion with you through a few different mechanisms. So I'll just jump to kind of our next steps here. So over the next couple of months, our team at Blue Strike will be reaching out to you in a few different ways. So the first one is that we are developing a survey, and that will be disseminated likely to you through the collection team. So through Lisa Mekas in Northern California and Jared in Southern California. So look out for that. It should be coming relatively soon, or it might be incorporated into your next quarterly reporting cycle. You're also invited to participate in a focus group with us, or schedule a one-on-one interview or site visit. And those requests will be coming from our Blue Strike team. For any of you that might be planning to attend a CRA here in just a couple weeks, we would invite you to come by the California Carpet Collection Program booth. Come visit with us. We'd be happy to schedule an interview during that time or help you complete the survey at that time. And also an invitation for any other non-participating sites, perhaps in your area, that you might be aware of, that you want us to, that would be good for us to connect with. We would love to see those recommendations as well. And so you can see Katie's email. She's another member of our team. Katie James, you can go ahead and email her, Katie at Blue Strike Environmental. If you're inspired and want to go ahead and jump on getting one of those pieces scheduled, we would very much welcome that. And then again, I just want to really acknowledge the incredible care team, Lisa Mekas, who's been working tirelessly for, I think, close to a decade now, moving this program forward, and working with all of you in Northern California, and Jared Zitron in Southern California. It's really a pleasure to see how much things have grown. I'll pass it back over to you, Jared.
Okay, thank you. And I know we're coming up on our time here. So I will be as quick as I can. We have the feedback section after this, but I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge, really the work all of you do. We like to make a point of, thanking all of you sincerely. And as we usually do, we're highlighting the top collectors in our urban and rural counties. We like to split that up just because there's such a different influx of volume and availability of material in those areas. So in the rural counties, we have Devlin Road Transfer Station collecting 132,000, Humboldt Waste Management Authority 94, almost 95,000, and Recology in Sutter Yuba counties with a solid 85,000. And then in the urban counties, we have Bena Landfill with over 500,000 pounds, Hayward Transfer Station with just over 400,000 pounds, and then Contra Costa Waste Services with just over 300,000 pounds. So pretty impressive. Again, not all of our reporting and figures are in yet, but this obviously gives us an idea of what's going on. And while I'm highlighting these 6 sites, obviously thank you to all of you sincerely. We really, really appreciate it. We couldn't do this without you. And now we have the feedback section. I would say, we essentially kind of did this with Brennan's presentation. And then after this, we have a questions section. So I'll just open it up before we close to see if anyone wants to share some last minute, what's working, what's not working, or any possible potential questions you may have. Really anything at all. Does anyone have anything they want to say? See, Tony, looks like you raised a hand. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, how you doing? This is Tony
Hey.
with Certified Blue Recycling in San Leandro. I actually made this comment to Lisa Mancas the other day too, is that seems like the advertising that's going out there, the clients are more aware of how to bring the material in. When I'm explaining things to them, they understand what I'm asking and the way they're bringing them in the product a lot more than just, oh, hodgepodge brought in. No, they're rolling up their broadloom, they're stacking up their tiles. So that the explanation that's done, I mean, I can educate a few, but obviously most of the education is coming from the advertising that's being put out there by CARE, and I do appreciate that because before at the very beginning it was like trying to explain to everybody and all the phone calls that were going there. So whatever is being done there is getting across to the public.
That's great feedback. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're not going to stop either. We're going to keep doing it. And so hopefully it continues to get even better. So I appreciate that. I actually meant to mention your site too when I commented on deconstruction companies, because I know you're a very similar operation.
Yes, we get a lot. I mean, and a lot of our carpet comes from the jobs that we have. Our mother company is Bayview, and they do some projects that are coming in. And it's mostly that's mostly floor tile that we get from these offices.
Right.
And yes, we've gotten there's it comes in stretches. Obviously, the more jobs we get, the more we're able to accumulate because they are they become, and we're able to fill up the 53-foot trailers and ship those out. But yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question or make a comment.
Okay, this is Annette. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little echoey, but I can hear you.
Oh, I apologize for that. Hey, just curious about the micro grants. When will the next cycle open, or is it open?
I believe it's kind of ongoing. I believe it is open. If you have an applicable project, you can apply. I don't know if Abby is on the call or if any of my other colleagues can answer that more clearly than I can. But as far as I know, it is open.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, Jared, just to confirm, the best way is to go to our grants page on our website, and there is information there, and there's a link to apply and also provide what is needed. We do have a question from NP Pfister, it looks like. I did ask them to unmute earlier, so if you wouldn't mind unmuting.
No,
thank you.
That was me. Thank you.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anyone else have any questions, comments? All right, well, I know we're over time here, so I'll go ahead and close. We really sincerely thank you, everyone, for being here. I know you're really busy with a lot more than just carpet, so Thank you. Your time is much appreciated. And, you know, we'll be in touch